Hello, welcome to Scrapbox Expressions. I'm doing a quick video because a couple of people asked me to show them how I made this card. So, I'm going to start off by showing you the dies that I have. Disclaimer, I don't do a really good job at recording my dies. I'll get better at it. But Sizzix have these framelits. They come in different sizes. I use the smaller one, which is 3.5 inches. Then I got these flowers on Amazon. Amazon have lots of really pretty stuff, not by big company names. So I don't even know who made this. But it comes with these leaves. I cut 2 sets of these flowers, so I have 2 of each size. And I think I got these from Altenew. These letters are about 1/2 inch in height. And these, I don't know who I got these from. Probably Altenew, I don't know. But yeah, so these are the letters that I used. Start off by scoring your 8.5 by 11 paper in half, so it comes down to 4 1/4. So you're going to look for 4 1/4. Score this right down the center. Fold it. That gives it a nice good crease. And then we're going to take this to the paper cutter and cut it in half. So since this is an 11 by 8.5 sheet, we're going to cut this down to 5.5. I'm just going to open this up. Get this to 5.5. So now I have 2 cards that I can work on, but obviously I'm just going to use one at the moment. Now I pre-cut everything since I already know what I'm working on. So this is what the framelit looks like with the holes. Sometimes it doesn't punch all the way through, so I use my tool to just punch these out. So I'm going to do that quickly. Actually, let me stop the camera so that you don't have to see me punch out all the holes. Alright, so once you've got that nice and neat looking, you are going to center this right around here so you have an even border of approximately 1/4 inch all the way around. Normally when I glue to the end to make sure the edge stays down, but because this has those holes, I'm going to come as close as possible as I can to the holes without going into the holes because I don't want it to look like a hot mess. So, and I always put some glue in the middle just to make sure the center stays down. Now, if you don't have these supplies at home, it's fine. Just cut the 2 layers. It'll still make your card look amazing. Now, I told you I had 2 sets of each of these flowers. So I'm going to take 1 set and I'm going to stack them. But I'm going to make sure that it doesn't line up perfectly like this, because that space in the middle just doesn't make as pretty a flower as if we were to arrange them and make it look like a full flower. So you're going to arrange both layers of your flower so that they look full. So it becomes a pretty full flower. So I'm just going to turn this to make sure the spaces are covered and you don't see those middle spaces. And I'm going to do the same thing with the small one. So now you've got this stacked pretty beauty. And when I place it on the card, I let it fall off the edge of this frame. So it comes to the ends of this card. So for this particular card, I leave the petals fluid and movable so I can make adjustments as I need to. So the only thing I'm really concerned about now is making sure that this lines up. If you don't want that much corner to show, then you manipulate your flower to the look that you need. So this is where I want it. I want to make the frame kind of disappear in this corner. Now, for the other three, I'm going to cut these in half, and that's going to give me the flowers that come along here. I have a steady hand, so I'm just going to use my eyeballing for half and just cut those. The reason I cut them individually and didn't cut them while they were stacked is because I might not get a clean center cut. Just personal preference. Somebody else might choose to stack them and cut them, but I prefer to do them individually. Now, what I get to do here, I get to manipulate this. Since I didn't glue these down, I can manipulate this the way I want. I could either put it flat down or I could let this overlap. So it's kind of up to you. I'm going to put this fully underneath for this one. I am going to put glue straight across the side because you don't want this sticking up at the edge of your card. So I put glue in a straight line, and that is going to come right up against the edge of this card. And you're going to repeat that with the others, remembering that you don't want these inserts to show, the spaces rather. So when I place them into place, I am going to move them, so it's not going to be totally centered, but I'm going to move it so that it doesn't look like a spacey card. I want it to look full. So for that full look, we manipulate the leaves and of the flowers or the petals of the flowers. So that's that. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put this right on top of it. Make sure it reaches the edge, but don't hang over the edge of the card here. Now once I set them in place, I am going to go and glue this down because that doesn't look as neat as this. So these edges I am going to glue down, but not until I've gotten everything in the place where I want it. So that's how we did that portion. Now I'm going to stop here for a minute and I'm going to show you what I did to get the silver letters in this card. These letters right here. I used some Versa ink and I stamped my paper with the Versa ink, and then I put silver heat embossing powder on it. So I basically just made a really fun aluminum foil looking paper. So I put that there. Then I'm going to fill it with this powder. and tap off any excess. And then I'm just going to heat emboss this, heat set it. And it's going to get nice and shiny and silver. You can see it's starting to get silver right there. Now this is going to take a while, so I'm just going to pause the camera and put it back on when it's done. So I've heat embossed it, so now you can see the really cool metallic look that it has. And from here, I cut out the letters using those big die cuts that I showed you. So I cut out M, O, M. Now the fun thing about this is because it's so detailed, it actually has this line right here. And so I use that to line up my letters so it could look neat and not crooked. Let me go ahead and glue this down like I said, because I don't like it sticking up. Glue that in place. Sometimes you have to hold it a minute, especially if you just bent it up. Right, so now I'm going to add the letters here, and I top this off with 3 silver sequins. I placed my M's on first so that I could center the O in between them. So I put this M here, and I put the other one here, and I center the O in the middle. So that's Mom. Then in here, I dig for some silver sequins. And that's what I put in the center. Even though these aren't full centers, it's fine, it works perfectly. So just put a drop there, a drop here, and a drop there. Put that on. So that's that part of it. And the final part is to put the word best. And so I showed you that I have those small letters. I do not cut them into little pieces. I think it'll just be a hassle trying to find all of those little pieces. So what I do is cut all of the letters at one time and punch out the ones that I need. So I need B, E is right here, S, T. I collect these and they'll come in handy for something. So whenever I punch, I take what I need and I just collect them and use them on a different card at a later time. So now these are about a ½ inch in height. They're just a little bit under that. So I'm going to cut a strip of white that's a ½ inch and another one that's 3/4 of an inch. So this piece is ½ inch. This is 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to use it as a border, but I'm going to trim that. So I'll show you that in a minute. But first, I'm going to put the word best on here. I am going to leave a little bit of space at the beginning because that's going to get tucked under there. So I'm not going to put the B right here, but I'm going to move it over to give me some space to manipulate it. And the good thing about the size of this, it helps you to kind of keep your letters neatly aligned without touching the top and the bottom, but you can pretty much keep it neat. I do a bit of freehand cutting, so the tail that I'm going to give it will be freehand cut. It won't be perfect. It'll look perfect, but it won't be perfect. It just works better for me to cut freehand, so I just put a notch. Then I come in here and align on the other side and put another notch. And again, it's not going to be perfect, but it is okay. It is going to be beautiful. And I always pull back, so if there are any little pieces, they fall back. Now, I'll glue this onto here, leaving a border. This side can go flush, but I'm going to leave a border here and I'm going to match that border up top. And then I'm going to do the same notching in here. And then come out here, do it again. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back. And I am going to slide it underneath these pieces that I did not glue down. So you're able to move it and manipulate it because these pieces were left up. And voila. That's how you make this card. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. And stay tuned for my Etsy shop, which is opening up in April, and for future videos.